All right, everyone. So Bronson Reed tweeted this out after, Jacob Fatu was destroying Braun Strowman. He tweeted out, "This chaos is familiar, almost, but I like it." And then he did hashtag Saturday Night Main Event. So I don't know if you guys have been following Bronson Reed's Twitter feed, but he has been absolutely hilarious during his injury time. He's just been live tweeting things, tweeting about, Raw, SmackDown, everything, and now Saturday Night Main Event, and it's just pretty funny, and it was pretty, like, basically WWE re-upping the same strategy, and it worked both times. So they did this exact thing with Bronson Reed. He got super over, and then he ended up getting hurt, which is pretty sad because he really was on a run, but hopefully he'll be back soon. So they did that to start, and now they did it with Jacob Fatu again, although it was almost a little bit more vicious this time around, although both were pretty vicious, and it worked like anything. They were the audience, just like they did with Bronson Reed, was chanting big time for Jacob Fatu. So WWE is like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Let's just keep running it back. And I'm hoping that when Bronson Reed does return, you get him and Jacob Fatu doing some stuff together because just to put it plainly, I thought actually Bronson Reed fit in well with kind of that new bloodline group. I think his character is really, really good. It doesn't mean they got to be tag partners or anything, but look, make that a really, if Jacob Fatu is going to end up being the leader of this thing with Solo, I don't know what Solo is going to be doing, but it looks like there's going to be some form of something with Jacob Fatu at the helm. Have Bronson Reed a part of that. I mean, these guys can really get over with the audience, and they're really like a group that would just be scary as hell. So we'll see what they do, but put in the comment section below what you think. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next time. All right, everyone. So we have a sad update here. This is from Russell Talk. Last week's episode of WWE Raw featured a tag team match with Damage Control's Io Sky and Dakota Kai facing Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark of the Pure Fusion Collective. According to PW Insider, it's believed that Kai was hurt during the match and she's been pulled from the road as a result. Kai is said not to be at tonight's episode of Raw 1 week later. There hasn't been a 100% confirmation of the cause, but one source suggested the issue may have stemmed from the missile dropkick from Zoe Stark that went somewhat viral on social media. So according to it, it's a concussion. That's the update too. The Dakota Kai has been diagnosed with concussion and will be out of action until she passes concussion protocol. So obviously Dakota Kai was just coming off an injury, and I thought she's done a pretty good job in a lot of ways. Of after coming back from the injury, she was in the tournament for the Intercontinental Championship on the women's side. I thought she was good in that. I think she's a really good character. And this just keeps setting you back. If you keep getting injured and you can't keep that constant flow of being on TV and being in these matches, it hurts. It really does hurt. And so hopefully she gets better soon and she will be back. So thank you all for watching. All right, everyone. So this is a cautionary video, but doesn't look like that it is 100%, an actual injury. So this is from Russell Talk. According to a new report from Fightful Select, Rhea Ripley had the wind knocked out of her during her Women's World Championship match against Nia Jax. The report does note that Ripley was okay after, and there is no mention of it being a bigger issue. Let's hope, right? Let's hope, because injuries are really one of the main things that can derail WWE storytelling, and they usually do a pretty good job of kind of looking at it and going, okay, we had an injury, how can we get around it? And they usually find a way to make something good out of that. And obviously we also have the second part of it, which is more than everything, you care about making sure that these guys or girls are okay, right? The superstars are okay. But Rhea Ripley being champ, they're going to start building whatever her WrestleMania feud's going to be. This is no time for her to have some injury. Obviously you could still do what they've done with some of her injuries, where you still have her on TV. You just don't have her fighting. You could still do that, but it's always gets scary around this time. When you have all these feuds they're building, and you're really building it to a fever pitch, and then you're like, I don't know, is there going to be some injury that comes up and really derails this? You know, then now you have the women's championship. If she's injured, that's not going to be, you know, up for grabs at WrestleMania. But clearly, that doesn't look like it's going to be the case, because it doesn't look like it's some long injury. It looks like it's going to be over pretty shortly, and it probably was just the wind getting knocked out of her. But Russell Talk did make it an article. I thought it was an interesting little report. The fact that Fightful Select even wrote it up as something, that tells you that it was more than just a normal, okay, you know, had the wind knocked out of her and there's nothing more. but we will see. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So John Cena, we haven't seen him since the Netflix premiere. So where is he? This is from Wrestle Talk. Per Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Cena has been in Budapest, Hungary, filming for the upcoming Matchbox movie. The movie, which Cena was reported to be attached to in September of 2024, will be inspired by the toy car brand of the same name. The live action film is under the Skydance, Apple, and Mattel Films umbrella. Mattel Films were the studio behind the successful Barbie movie from 2023. Matchbox will be produced by Skydance's David Ellison, Dana Goldberg, and Don Granger, as well as Robbie Brenner of Mattel Films. So that's why Cena hasn't been on TV. He's been filming a movie in Budapest, Hungary. And the amazing thing about this, and I got to say, I think this was a good job by WWE, is obviously, even though this is Cena's farewell tour, we already know he's only going to have X amount of, he's only going to have so many chances of being on TV. He's only going to have so many appearances. And so the beauty of this has been, well, he gave such a good promo at the Netflix premiere that him not being on TV hasn't really mattered because the promo was completely looking towards the Royal Rumble. And he delivered such a great one that by the time Royal Rumble hits and he's in the Rumble and we're going to see John Cena at the Rumble, we don't need anything else. We really don't need much else from him besides that. And so that just shows the kind of talented guy this is. And I'm kind of excited about it in a way because it's like, okay, so since that was the case, since he hasn't been on TV, we still are going to get even more appearances from him because we haven't even been close to using those up. So we showed up for the premiere. Now he's going to be showing up at Royal Rumble. Now, at the time of filming, this is before tonight's Monday Night Raw. And this is going up on a Tuesday. So if it does end up being he returns on this Raw, that could be the case. I don't know that at the time of filming this, but if he doesn't, I have no problem with it. I love the fact that what we're getting right now is perfectly told story to begin John Cena's farewell tour with a fantastic promo looking towards the Royal Rumble. I cannot wait. Thank you all for watching. All right, everyone. So before we get into this, I'm going to warn you there's a big spoiler warning on this. This is a potential WWE star returning at the Royal Rumble. So we're going to give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Spoiler warning is up. We're going to now give you the update. This is from Wrestle Talk. As reported by PW Insider Elite, there's an update on WWE star AJ Styles potentially returning at the Royal Rumble. The report notes that WWE is hopeful that Styles will be cleared and able to return for this Saturday's Royal Rumble in Indianapolis, Indiana. Styles is said to be slated at Indianapolis after having been out of action due to a foot injury since October of 2024. This injury took place during his first television match back after previously being off TV since June. Although he had been wrestling at live events between June and October, Styles recently tweeted that his injury had been really hard to deal with. Okay. So this would be cool, and this is typical with wrestling. Any return you get is going to help boost, especially with a Royal Rumble pay-per-view. That's what returns are all about. Seeing somebody return to the Rumble, the fans go nuts. And this is going to be a high-pressure pay-per-view for WWE, in my opinion. I think they've put a lot of eggs into the Royal Rumble basket. I think this has to go off very well, and they have to be able to build big storylines to get people pumped for WrestleMania, because I feel like right now we have a lot of storylines that are good, but they're just kind of there. They're just, we have ones like Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, fantastic. Got it. But a lot of the other big names are kind of in between storylines or just starting a new one, and we don't have any sort of direction as we head towards towards WrestleMania. We kind of want a little bit more of that direction. We want to see, this is what they're trying to do with this championship at WrestleMania and why we should be watching WrestleMania this year. So I think this Royal Rumble is a huge, huge pressure situation, and having someone as big of a name as AJ Styles returning and him possibly being in the mix moving forward will certainly help out with making it as exciting as it can be. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Gunther, after beating Jey Uso for the championship, tweeted out 3-0, stay away now, exclamation point. Wrestle Talk points out that Gunther had previously defeated Jey in their two prior encounters, once for the Intercontinental Championship back in February of last year, and again in the King of the Ring semifinal in May. So, it's kind of weird because on one hand, I'd love to see Jey Uso have a championship, but on the other hand, I like Gunther. Love seeing him have the championship. I just don't know if WWE is doing a great job at telling Gunther's story right now. And put in the comment section below if you agree or disagree, because I get it, right? Some people may view it differently. I just don't know what they're doing with his character. It's like Michael Cole was saying on commentary, he was shocked that Jey Uso put up such a fight. And then before this, when he was in a feud with Damian Priest, it was like, he couldn't say anything to Damian Priest, and Damian Priest was getting one over on him. And I don't know, it just doesn't really fit to me with the character of Gunther, and what makes him Gunther. I just what brought him to the championship, that pedigree seemingly is being taken away. And he's winning, but it's just, I think Bully Ray had a good point when he said it's kind of a placeholder. And he didn't mean that in a way of like Gunther isn't a good champion or that Gunther can't be this really great champion or won't be, going forward. It's just that there's not a ton of excitement around stuff that he's doing right now, in my opinion. And they're not making rivalries that I think they should be with him. The rivalry excitement just isn't there right now, and maybe I'm wrong. Um, but and look, Jey Uso's a great once again. Jey Uso, there's no one more over than him. But is this rivalry going to be the one? Like, is this really the best rivalry we have between the two? I don't know. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Put in the comment section below if you agree or disagree with this. So WWE 2K25 is just around the corner for big announcements. They tweeted out this today. The dead man rises again. No one escapes the darkness when the Undertaker arrives. Rest in peace or don't. And it's a picture of the Dead Man edition, as you can see right above. They also had some interesting things to say on the website. So it says WWE 2K returns bigger, bolder, and better than ever in a breakthrough year for the franchise. WWE 2K25 is preparing to charge down the ramp with all the authenticity and actions fans love from the best in sports entertainment. Discover game changing features, iconic superstars, and more details on January 28th, 2025. That's tomorrow. I cannot wait to see what they're going to be announcing. It is I just can't. I honestly just can't wait. We're going to be doing a lot more content on this channel when WWE 2K25 releases, and we're going to be doing a bunch of news up until then. We started doing some 2K24 stuff on here. The issue was that I felt like it was kind of late in the life cycle of the game. So we're going to be doing a lot of, update things on the 2K25 game, and then we're really going to be doing some content on it. So I hope everybody who likes the wrestling news, don't worry, that's going to stay. We're going to keep doing that, but we're also going to be adding some wrestling game stuff into it too. So I hope you guys all enjoy that. And if you don't, and we don't really know what to do with it, and it's not that great, then we'll stop it. But I want to give it a try. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So one of the funniest parts I think of the Saturday Night Main Event was when Jesse Ventura said, "But there is one thing he ain't got." He was talking about Braun Breaker. He said he's a Steiner, and that means 2 and 2 equals 5. Pretty funny, I thought. And then Steiner responded to him saying, "Jesse Ventura seems to forget that I attended a highly educated university. Next time I see him, there's a 141 and 2/3 chance that I will slap him like a bitch. His Navy SEAL training can't help him." So I don't know. I thought it was very funny, that moment on commentary. I thought that was classic Jesse Ventura. I don't know if Steiner is in any way joking, but he's not happy. He is not happy in any way about that. We'll see if Scott Steiner ends up back on WWE TV. I know we did a video the other day of a potential Rumble return, if that could happen off one of his tweets. I don't know. It could just be a tweet, could be something that actually happens, could just be a tweet. We have to wait and see. But I thought that was pretty. I thought that was a pretty funny moment by Jesse Ventura. And look, he said it. Steiner has every right to be pissed and say what he wants to say back. But obviously, Jesse was just you know doing what commentators do. He was just doing what made him one of the best commentators ever. Just, funny stuff like that. And I thought he was finding his rhythm. I really do. The first one, he was good, but, I don't know if he was great. I thought it was good. The second one, I thought it was great. And I think if we can get that Jesse over and over and over again, it's going to make these Saturday Night Main Events even more iconic. I think WWE has just struck a gold mine with these Saturday Night Main Events. So put in the comment section below with who you agree with here, Steiner or Jesse Ventura. Personally, I don't really care. I just thought it was a pretty funny joke by Jesse. And, like I said, Steiner can respond if he wants to. All right, everyone. So Braun Strowman was absolutely destroyed by Jacob Fatu, but he spoke out with the photo above after the match, and he said, "You should have killed me when you had the chance." So maybe this means that there's going to be a longer feud between these two. One of the things we said last night was that I thought WWE did a great job of building up Jacob Fatu. The fans were loving it. It was completely over, right? They loved that segment. The part I felt bad about was that Braun Strowman kind of drew the short end of the stick on that and was basically getting dismantled in the ring. Now, they did kind of counter that with before that, Braun Strowman was putting a good beat down on Jacob Fatu as well, so it wasn't necessarily a one-sided match the whole time, but the ending, it just felt like in a lot of ways it was one-sided. You could have had some form of interference or something that led to that, and it would have been a lot easier on Braun, but I think they're really trying to push Jacob Fatu, and for good reason. He has star quality. He already has this really well-defined character. Like, we know what his character is. His character is he's a badass. He's going to destroy you. It's just he's a guy you don't want to mess with. And also his promo skills, they're pretty good. So you mix those two, and you have somebody who could be potentially down the line a really big name in the company, in the bloodline storyline, right? This is the beauty of factions, and they always talk about this, right? Wrestling always talks about this. The beauty of factions is exactly what we saw, which is stars are born out of them. So you have this faction, you have Roman Reigns, you have Solo, you have a bunch of different people, but Jacob Fatu looks like he might be maybe one of the biggest stars to be born out of this thing. Now we'll see. Obviously, you had Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso and all these other guys as well that have been helped out by the Bloodline storyline. But right now, this second iteration of it looks like Jacob Fatu is going to be the one who really, really, really benefits from it. And we'll see what the WWE does with Solo too, because he may be kind of a later guy to really thrive from this. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Undertaker gave an update on his 6 Feet Under podcast about what to expect from John Cena's farewell tour. We're going to read a partial quote here from TJRWrestling.net. I think it's going to be a great swan song year for him. It's going to be I think it will be the equivalent to like they've done in the NBA when all those legends kind of on their last year and they get to go to all these different towns and get their flowers in each town. Cena was a workhorse, huge star for a lot of years, and I think it's really cool the way they have this kind of laid out. They have a certain amount of dates he's going to make, a certain amount of premium live events he's going to make, and it's going to give people a chance to again give him his flowers, give him his props, let him say goodbye. It's a cool way of doing it. I don't expect anything crazy. I think he's going to get some good wins. I think he's going to probably, take some L's. But I think overall it's going to be great. It's going to be a great year for the WWE fan base because a lot of times guys will just announce their retirement and that's it. Yeah. Or they come back and then retire again and they come back and do it again. So, I'm as big of a supporter of this retirement tour, farewell tour, whatever you want to call it, as anyone. I think this is the perfect way to have Cena go out. I really, really do. I think it gives us all a chance to really embrace his last year. I think it makes every match he's, going to be a part of that much more exciting, which is key to me. It's like you don't even have to build as much of a storyline as you may usually would have to, just based off the fact that it's going to be Cena's last match against this guy or last match in this arena or last type of this match. Like everything about this is going to, in its own way, build it. It's just fantastic, and I do hope they book it correctly, and give people the matches they want to see. Because although it will be his last match, if you don't put the right opponents up against him, like I know Drew McIntyre wanted to fight him, that would be a beautiful one. As many people as you can get that are big names, and I would love to see Cena win that championship one more time as well. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Kurt Angle talked about Chad Gable, and he had pretty big comments about him. So he said, Chad made me look good. He did. Chad's incredible. He's a very talented kid, and I'm just glad that they're utilizing him properly because I know he's undersized a little bit. They didn't know what to do with them, but this kid could be a world champion and be very marketable. I mean, especially with the gimmick he has right now with the whole USA thing and you suck and everything where he's like my son. He should have been, yeah, exactly. But Vince had other ideas, having Jason Jordan be my son, which was ridiculous because that was cool. Okay. So I've been talking about this for quite some time. Overall, to me, Chad Gable is one of the most underrated wrestlers in the entire company, in my opinion. I just think he's someone who you saw that match even against Penta. He delivered such a fantastic match that the fans were loving it. It helped Penta get more over, and yet he still kind of gets stuck in like, you know, in these mid card things, which are fine because it's important, right? He's actually delivering mid card entertainment that we want to see. He's actually the mid card promos with American Made. You want to watch them when you're seeing him in the ring. You know he can deliver a good match. He can cut a really good promo. Like he doesn't really have much that you look at and you go, oh, he doesn't have this. Like he's got basically the entire package here. And so I wonder if WWE is going to give him a major push at some point. I think they definitely should. I don't think they should have him constantly be someone kind of moving around and losing a bunch. I think he's someone who could definitely be, closer to the main event scene than WWE has had him. Because I think he delivers good matches. At the end of the day, he could, like I said, Penta, right? Penta, his debut match in WWE. Chad Gable delivers this fantastic match that we looked at and we talked about. And we were just like, man, that was one of the best matches on the whole show. So I hope they give him the push he deserves. And I do think he could be champion one day. Like, to me, there's no reason that he can't take a step up with this faction. And the beauty of it is he's a true heel, meaning people hate his guts and for good reason, right? Everything he did to Otis and the Alpha Academy. So they hate him for good reason. Get him up to the main event scene and see what he could do. That would be personally what I'm supportive of. But put in the comment section below what you think. Thank you all for watching. All right, everyone. So Bully Ray had some interesting things to say about Gunther. So here's what he said. I don't think there has been as much attention on that championship now that Gunther has it, he explained. I think he has been a good placeholder. I don't like the word placeholder for him, but I think he's kept the belt exactly where it was. It hasn't taken a step back, but I don't think it has taken a step forward. So this is a transcript from TJRWrestling.net. Now, honestly, I love Gunther. I love his character, but it's tough to disagree with what Bully Ray's saying there. And I don't blame Gunther, I blame WWE. I think, you know, they've really not given him, ever since he's won this championship, a great, like, really, I would say they just haven't told his story very well. You know, it's like even when they were, having it with Damian Priest, it was like they made it so Gunther like was unsure if he could win. Like it just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. It just didn't want it just didn't make me want to be like, oh my God, he's an awesome champion, And I think they should really lean into the older version of Gunther a little more, I would say, and have him a very self confident champion, someone who's, very dominant and strikes fear in his opponents. And it just feels like even in, the last one, against Jey Uso, at the end, everyone's like, you could see it on his face. He didn't realize how good Jey Uso was going to be. It's just like, it feels like everything Gunther does is in the service of building up another character instead of building up his own. It's like his championship reign is simply there to build up Damian Priest and build up Jey Uso instead of building up Gunther, and I don't know what they're going to do with it moving forward. I don't know how long he's going to have the championship, but I think they got to shake it up. And I think having a Goldberg match or something like that is the perfect way to do it. Get him somebody who is, it's not to say Jey Uso, look, he's a star and he could have been champion. That's fine. But if you're going to make Jey Uso champion because you want to build up Jey Uso, do it. Don't have Gunther remain champion and build up Jey Uso. That just, it doesn't, add up. But if you bring in Goldberg, have him have that retirement match, that might be exactly what's needed. But we'll see what they do with this storyline. Maybe they are going to build this a little bit more. I just wish, I think, the Gunther title reign has not been exactly what we would have liked it to have been so far. So thank you all for watching. Put what you think in the comment section below. All right, everyone. So we have a big update here on potential for Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez push moving forward. So this is from WrestleOps. There's been heavy talk internally for Liv Morgan and Raquel to get a big push as a tag team leading into WrestleMania 41. They're citing PW Insider with this report. I got really excited when I read this. The problem is Liv Morgan was obviously in the main event scene. She was champion. She loses to Rhea Ripley. The women's division is stacked. There's just no other way about it. There are so many talented women's wrestlers right now, and it's tough to see her remaining in that title scene because you have Becky Lynch potentially coming back, you have Charlotte Flair, you have all of these, female wrestlers that are going to be in the main event scene that there's just not room right now for Liv after she just lost her championship. So what better way to keep, her on TV and to keep her rivalry going and build her up as a star than putting her in the tag team division? It's just a great way of going about it. And I feel like Liv and Raquel, it's just such a perfect tag team. I feel like they have good on screen chemistry. They have, just this it's just I don't really know how to explain it. It's just like you're like they're a good duo. That's just plain. It's just there's no other way to put it. You see them on TV together, you see them in the tag matches they've had, and you're like, that's a good tag team. It just feels phenomenal. And they should be building up the women's tag team division. You have so much talent on the women's side. You don't really want to have, you have different, obviously, you have different championships now being introduced. Make the tag team division strong. You really can. You have enough to do it. And I think what Liv and Raquel and obviously Dirty Dom as well, what they do a great job of are being heels and getting that heat. And so what better way of keeping her relevant than putting her in the tag team division, have her fighting in tag matches throughout the year and just building heat for these mid-card matches. It's really it's a good way to kind of be like, look, Liv, we gave you your push for a little bit. We have to get other people involved up at the top in the main event scene. So we're going to put you in the tag team division and give you a push there. I just think it's fantastic. Put in the comment section below what you think, and we'll see you next time. Dominic Mysterio on the Baby Faces podcast, he said, I think that people would go absolutely insane. People would hate me to see me as world champion. This is pretty interesting because, you know, I think, and I've said this for a while, I think Dirty Dom is one of the more underrated superstars in the entirety of WWE right now. Because everybody knows with wrestling, whether you're super over or super hated, they're basically no difference. If you're someone who can get a lot of heat on you, you're just as important as someone who can, get a lot of love towards you. And certainly, baby faces are more of like the people carrying the company. I do get that. It's like you're not going to have a heel who's really driving all that much, but it could be the case that that happens. But Dominic Mysterio just does better than anyone at getting heat from the audience and getting heat from the crowd. And I think I kind of don't like when they put him in these situations where he's almost a joke. They have him losing badly to everybody, or, people are just like paying him no respect. It's like, I understand it could be funny, but I think Dominic Mysterio is way past that at this point. I think and I don't know what they're going to do because right now there is just so much talent in WWE, but I think if they continue to, push him and continue to get him in the right spots, he could be a really cool heel. And by the way, success, if he succeeds and he starts winning and a lot of stuff and, getting more championships, just understand he's going to get even more hated. Right now, when you're a loser, sure, everybody hates you, nobody cares. But think about all the heat that came when he screwed over Rhea Ripley, right? He got one up on her. Think about all the heat that came to him after that, because success will drive even more heat to him. So put in the comment section below if you agree that they should give him a little bit of a bigger push. I would love to see him holding some sort of championship, even if it's a tag team championship at some point. I would absolutely love to see it. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So we have a WrestleMania update on a potential opponent for Charlotte Flair. So this is from Wrestling Inc. Charlotte Flair announced her return in a video on WWE SmackDown ahead of the Royal Rumble, and now there are reports of just who the Queen could be facing at WrestleMania 41, whether she wins the Rumble match or not. According to Fightful Select, a match pitting Flair against the current WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton has been discussed to take place on the greatest stage of them all. Stratton has been compared to Flair throughout her career, beginning with her time in WWE NXT, and has expressed interest in taking on Flair, naming her as one of her dream opponents. Stratton has also said that Flair inspired her to become a wrestler in the first place. So I think this should be a pretty interesting match. I really do. Look, I don't know what people are going to be thinking when Charlotte Flair returns. I don't know if she's going to be like super over right away or if WWE is going to have to do some building. But I think the thing about Charlotte Flair is she's going to give Tiffany Stratton an even more of like legitimacy in a way. I know everybody's over, head over heels for her right now in terms of the fan base loves her. You know, they love the Tiffy time and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, we've seen a lot of wrestlers who can come win championships and that's it. They don't maybe have that long lasting run for, decades, right? But someone like Charlotte Flair, who's been around for so long, is, one of the best of all time in, the women's division. She can give a lot of legitimacy, I think, to Tiffany Stratton. And I think if they bring her back as this heel, it's going to bring the audience even further behind Tiffany Stratton. Part of the beauty of wrestling is at times, sometimes it's good to kind of have, okay, nobody's really a baby face or a heel and everyone's just kind of like, it's like a gray area. Sometimes that's good, but sometimes it's really good just to have a very clear baby face and a very clear heel. And so I think someone like Charlotte Flair would be really good for her to wrestle because, like I said, I just think it adds a layer of legitimacy, and I think that makes that match an even bigger one. But put in the comment section below what you think. Thank you all for watching. All right, everyone. So we have an update on Hogan's absence from Saturday Night Main Event. So the story was that his son was getting married, and it's one of those things where you're like, I'm not going to question that. It just if that's what they're saying, that's what they're saying. The son's wedding is 100% an excuse not to be at Saturday Night Main Event. But Dave Meltzer gave an update on Wrestling Observer Radio, so I figure let's give this side of the story. There's more to the Hogan thing than meets the eye. I'm just not sure exactly yet what it is. I'm not saying that because it's suspicious. I'm saying that because I was absolutely told that there's more than meets the eye. That's the exact wording I was told. It's just weird that you pull out of a show that has been built around you. You're the only one in the advertising, and then you pull out over a wedding, which, hey, look, your son's getting married. Sure, I get that, but it's like, how many weeks have they promoted this with Hogan, including the night before? Unless Nick told them the day before, hey, I'm getting married tomorrow. Why don't you go like, dude, I've got a commitment here that you know about. They're advertising this whole show around me. There is something that doesn't meet the eye with this one. It does not pass the smell test. Either Hogan not telling them until the end, that's weird. Nick deciding to get married at the last minute, if that's the case, that's weird. It's weird. I know people are trying to say now, oh, he was never actually scheduled. I can tell you from talking to people for weeks, he absolutely was scheduled, so it's not that. So we know for sure, according to reports, I should say, that right up until the day, the reports were saying he was going to be there. Now, to be fair, it was Dave Meltzer, so it's kind of like a circular thing where he reported it, and now he's saying, well, we know because of those reports, which are his reports. So that is the case. But I was saying this at the time, first of all, if he missed it for his son's wedding, it doesn't matter when his son decided to have this happen. He was going to be there. That's number one. That's not crazy to me. I don't think that's a weird thing to have happen. But it's definitely interesting that, it's like, it was kind of I would say, an excuse that it's not going to really be bought by a lot of people due to the fact the last time he was on TV, he was getting booed the way he was. And also you have the problems with Jesse Ventura and all of that stuff. I don't know if any of those reasons were the reason why. This could be a story that's 100% true with Hogan just had the family commitment and that's why he wasn't there. But I think WWE needs to take a look at this and figure out how they're going to portray Hogan on TV moving forward. And if, they're going to, at some point, either going to have to be like, we're going to have him be a heel or they're going to have him not be on TV at all. And putting him in promotional material, I don't really have a problem with, because when you're talking about Saturday Night Main Event, he's a big part of it, regardless of he's on the new version or not. He's still a big part of it. It's just that, I feel like they're going to have to kind of make a clear, like, we're going to bring him in or we're not going to bring him in. And I don't know what they're going to do with that. Certainly, I know this for sure. They shouldn't have him doing any kind of ad on TV. It just didn't feel right. It just didn't. Regardless of anything you feel about the booze or anything like that, you just shouldn't have the guy doing an ad on TV. It just feels like, okay, that's why you're back then. So you're not back to kind of deliver a good segment for the people in the stadium, or for people watching at home. You were there to sell this, and it just didn't feel 100% right. So I don't know. Put in the comment section below what you think, but this is the update from Dave Meltzer. Have no knowledge of if it's, any of this. It's just the reporting he's giving. So thank you all for watching. So I didn't even know this happened until I saw it on Wrestle Talk. They posted the clip, and it's pretty crazy because it's like Carmelo Hayes, he announces himself for the Rumble, he attacks Cody Rhodes. My guess is this isn't really a storyline that's gonna necessarily go anywhere, I don't think. I think this was just him announcing himself for the Rumble, but that's one of the beauties, I think, of WWE is that actually going to some of these shows, you may just get some crazy moment like this, just, like, out of the blue. It may just be like, "Yeah, you know what? Screw it. Have Carmelo Hayes attack Cody Rhodes after Raw goes off the air." It just gives you an extra added motivation to have that, to attend a show, see what happens because they do that. And I remember even back in the day, they would always talk about that with like Stone Cold. He'd be out there for hours, basically, just after the show, giving the fans their money's worth. And there's really nothing like WWE. They're really, you have sporting events, you have various other things. There's nothing quite like WWE as it pertains to the connection between the fans and the actual superstars themselves, and it's awesome. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Roman Reigns tweeted out a response to the cover of WWE 2K25, and it says, "Wherever I go, I will make sure my bloodline is with me." So this might be nothing. Okay, this might just be him promoting the game. I completely understand that, and so I'm not trying to get too crazy. Okay, I'm not trying to be, someone who's reading too far into something. But if you look at the cover, who do you see? Okay, we got Jimmy Uso, we got Jay Uso, Tama and Toa Tonga, right? We got both of them in there. Paul Heyman, Sami Zayn, Solo, and Jacob Fatu. So what you see here is the entirety of the bloodline. Now, with WWE and what they're doing moving forward, we don't really know what the future is looking like for the bloodline storyline. Is it possible that WWE is really, really going for it? Is it possible that WWE is basically looking at this from the standpoint of we are going to be able to bring this bloodline all together? That includes Solo, Jacob Fatu, everybody, bring them all back and get this thing going. Like I said, I don't know. It might be pure speculation on my part. I just find it pretty interesting that when he refers to, in this post, when he refers to bloodline, he's not just referring to Jimmy and Jay, right? And he's not just even referring to Jimmy, Jay, and Sammy and Paul Heyman. This, you know, uh, cover has everybody included. And once again, might be speculation completely. I might be a moron for even saying it. And by the way, you could put that in the comments, be like, you idiot. That's not what's happening. I just think 2K certainly probably has some sort of a knowledge of what's going on with WWE. WWE probably has some input on who they want on the cover and, what things. And they want to make sure that the game ages like a fine wine, not okay, we put all our time into putting this in the cover and then the bloodline storyline doesn't exist. So it's just speculation, okay? Just speculation. But put in the comment section below what you think, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Rikishi has been very vocal about the bloodline storyline and all of that. And he put out a tweet about Jacob Fatu and the big moment he had in WWE. Here's what he said: Jacob Fatu has arrived. Hashtag SNME, viral, hashtag WWE, hashtag God never miss. The crowd yelling our last name, Fatu, Fatu, Fatu. Get it, Jacob. You listened, learned, and did the work. Look at you now. Hashtag wrestling superstar. Hashtag proud of you. Stay the course. And then at Jacob Fatu, WWE. So I love this. I absolutely love this. Rikishi's been critical at times and of the bloodline storytelling and wanted Jey Uso to get a bigger push, but he is 100% right on this Jacob Fatu thing. WWE played this perfectly. Anytime you have a faction, you want stars to come out of it. That's almost the point of the faction. It's not just to have great storytelling, it's to make more stars. And this thing, I think it will. I really do. I think Jacob Fatu is already there. I think when you look at even on the other side, right? Jey Uso, how much he's grown in this. Jimmy Uso, I think, will get his push now and will continue. I think injuries, kind of derailed him a little bit, but it's done a fantastic job. And Jacob Fatu is a heel, but he's getting over. And this just opens up so many different avenues for them. Because when you have someone like Jacob Fatu, who is a heel, technically, but now the fans are loving him, kind of like they did with Bronson Reed, This means you could put him against anybody. You could have him in any match, and everybody kind of thinks, oh my God, this guy is a badass. This guy's a destroyer, as Triple H said, right? He is just going to be destroying people, and it makes every match that much more vicious. You have your champion, he's got to beat Jacob Fatu. That is a tall task, and it's just awesome. And, to hear the crowd chant the way they did when Braun Strowman, I mean, he's a guy that's over, right? Fans like him. Fans don't dislike Braun Strowman. And to hear them wanting Braun Strowman to continually be attacked, and they did this to Seth Rollins too when it was Bronson Reed, it's just it's fantastic. It's exactly what they needed for Jacob Fatu, and now they have to deliver on it, though. It's great to get the reaction you got, but now you got to put it together, and you can't let this thing go away. You may only get one real chance until this, flame burns out. You got to make sure they put them in the right storylines against the right people, and if you could do that, we may have another main eventer from the Bloodline on our hands. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. All right, everyone. So Jordan Grace has left TNA and she's heading to WWE. In an interview with Chris Van Vliet, she talked about why. This is what she said. I've been at TNA for a very long time, since 2018, and I've never let my contract expire before. I've always just re signed. I don't know if it was just the uncertainty of not knowing what was going to happen next, or I was just scared that no one was going to want me. But I feel like now I'm more confident. I had an amazing 2024, and I think it's time. I've done so much in TNA. I've done pretty much all there is to do, and I feel like if there was ever a time to move forward, it'll be right now. When when he left, I was very emotional when he left, like a lot of other people. She's talking about Diamore. Let me see the name of Scott Diamore. When he left, I was very emotional when he left, like a lot of other people, because it was just so out of the blue. We found out on a Zoom call it was very corporate, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But at the time, I was just like, you know what? I only really signed here because I had faith in Scott that he was going to do good things for me and good things for the company. He's the one that kind of set in motion the whole rebirth of TNA. And I told them I wanted my contract to be cut, basically. So it was supposed to be until October this year. And I was like, I want to get out in January of this year. I mean, kudos to them. They heard me and they let me. So I'm very lucky for that. But I think probably I'd still be at TNA. So that's kind of a big deal at the bottom, right? So basically, when Scott D. Moore was fired, she decided that was when, she wanted her contract cut and she was ready to make the jump. And I'm pretty sure she has officially signed her contract with WWE. I know she's been on NXT, and we'll see what she could do. She's walking into a company that has a stacked women's division. There's no question about that. They're only trying to grow it. So I think it's a good time to get in, especially as they add more singles titles for the women's division. So now there's going to be more opportunity and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. This might be, looking back, one of those things where she loves it. She becomes one of the better wrestlers in WWE, but WWE is just hiring so much talent. They're just doing such a good job. And the beauty of this is they have this kind of, relationship now with TNA. So they could have her go back there and just have this massive moment as well. Like, all of that stuff helps build brands. So I love it. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. So JD McDonough, he took a rough fall onto the table. You could see, a picture, he hits his back. And so he spoke out after Raw. He said, "First off, thanks to everyone for the messages and the concern. I'm good. I've got a couple of broken ribs and a punctured lung, so I'm going to be out for a couple months. All things considered, it could have been a lot worse. So I'm grateful for that. See ya in a bit." So at the time, this looked brutal. JD finished the match, and people loved that match. People absolutely loved that match. And I got to say, we've kind of laughed about the Judgment Day and what's going on with it, and whether it's going to be something that goes away now, and how do they build from it. JD McDonough, Dominic Mysterio, that match, they should be a tag team going forward. I really think they have a future with it. Fans loved it. I think a lot of fans looked at this as like, JD gained our respect. He put everything out there on the line. And, a lot of us probably wish, hey man, you break your ribs and puncture a lung. You don't got to finish that match. They could have storylined that out. That's insane, really. And hopefully he gets better. He's going to be out for a little while, which is sad because I think there was a lot of momentum. I mean, I'm just reading the comments to what, people were saying. I'll read you a few of them. "Speedy recovery, JD with a heart. Glad you aren't paralyzed, man. Noggin okay. Broken ribs and punctured lung sounds rough, but it's great to know you're staying positive. Rest up. Man, I saw the fight and what a dangerous movement, and you still continued fighting together with Dom. My respects that you get well soon. Greetings from Mexico. Thank goodness you're good, man. Talk all the time. You need We Love You. You know, it's just everyone's happy about it. You know, you keep Get Well Soon, Glad You Wrote. I mean, it's just people were all over this, and they were a lot of them are even praising his performance. The crowd was loving that. So I think uh a lot of respect was given to him for it. So after he recovers, after he gets better, he could look back on this and say, you know what? I took a bad injury, but the fans love me even more now because I did this. And I was calling for it before Raw. I said, look, I want to see Dominic Mysterio get a little bit of a bigger push, and I was talking about in singles, but would JD McDonough give this team a push? Let Finn Balor go be, chasing singles championships, and let JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio be this tag team. I love it. This was one of the first times in a long time I've really seen a connection between the audience and JD, even during the match. It's like, sure, they weren't rooting for him necessarily, but it was more than just boos because they hate the Judgment Day. It was like, holy crap, these guys are putting on a hell of a match. So I hope they're able to keep that momentum when he gets back. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.